What have we done?
Isn't it crazy how sometimes you find one coupon and that just turns into an absolute shopping spree? When the post office gives you a 15% off your entire order, you use it. So, we were intending on just getting a couple of things, like we had our eyes on some chandeliers, which actually we got different ones, which turned out to be even cheaper, which is great. But we also went ahead and got things that we knew we were going to get eventually. So, things like faucets, a couple of those for the master, all the towel racks and towel holders, toilet paper holders, all the bathroom stuff essentially, bathroom fan, trash can, that one we'll do sooner rather than later, but just things to pile up. So now we have even more stuff just sitting around the garage. Yay, we shopped till we dropped today, so I don't feel like doing anything with that or anything around the house really. I need a day off, honestly, but we'll at least take care of one thing, the furnace. Noodles. It's Sunday fun day. Today I want to put a shelf up here to house the router as well as some decorative stuff. We have an outlet up there which is kind of odd, but in this case kind of handy, so we can have that up and out of the way. We don't see wires dangling down, which is nice. And I'm going to use some of the reclaimed wood to be reclaimed once again that I was using as shelving in the condo. Originally I was going to put these two next to each other. They're 30 inches each and this wall is 68.5 inches, so I thought perfect. Those will line up nicely with a little bit of a gap evenly between them. However, with the studs being where they are on this wall, none of the brackets really lined up, and I want them to be in a stud. I don't want to use drywall anchors because drywall anchors can be hit and miss sometimes, especially with these. This is heavy wood. So instead I have this longer piece. It's a little bit shorter, but should work just fine to hold the router and a couple other small things. So I cut this one about 2 inches less than the width of the wall, so it's going to essentially be the entire width, and I can put in anchors on each side of the wall because obviously there's going to be studs there that I can drill into. It should be perfect. There we go, knocked that thing out in no time at all. Perfect. Well, not quite. Still a few things to do in this area, but we'll get to that eventually. Good morning. Today is trash day, the first trash day of the week, not actual trash day. But with our shopping spree last weekend, we got a slide out recycling trash bin holder thing so that we can hide it away in one of the cabinets. We had this in the condo, really liked it. I liked the fact that we could hide away the trash and it's not just out in the open with a trash bin, and our current solution is not desirable. And let's see this thing in action. Open the cabinet. Pull this and 2 bins slide out. So we got one for recycling, one for regular trash, and to stow it away. And soft close, nice. And out of the way. Well, I didn't plan on doing this today, or this one, but they're done. And they look so much better than that old ancient 80s crap that was in there. Although that said, I'm not 100% certain about the Edison lights that come with these chandeliers. They're a little too warm for my taste, I think. They just look way too yellow. And so we'll ultimately have to see how they look at night compared to the other lights in the hallway and down in the living room. But, might need a change. Now my evening will be nothing but cleaning up this monstrosity that I've created. Knocked out another small project in my lunch hour and got this drawer rail secured again. This just split apart and there was no way you could put a screw or even a staple in that, so clamped it together yesterday actually and put in some wood filler right here. But with the rail fully seated, it was actually better to use the screw hole here rather than staples, which the other drawer has. And so I put a block right here, drilled that into the back side, and then drilled it into here. So now this drawer works. Gee, you'd think with so many nails that this thing would be a lot more secure than it is, but I guess it was just wishful thinking. Moving back to the garage, and I want to get this shelf redone so that way I can put all of these bins that we have laying around that are all over the place up against the wall, stacked up, shelved, and out of the way. So the goal with this shelving unit is to pretty much keep it as is. Only difference is though I want to pull it out and make it a little bit deeper. Right now it's at like 16 or 18 inches, something like that, but I want it to be at least 2 feet so that way I can accommodate the more common sized bins lengthwise. Okay, I just have to point out a few things. Number one, these are all the wood, screws, and nails that I've extracted from just this one set of shelves. It's an absolute mess. Not to mention all the ones that just instantly broke apart, which I had to get out with the pliers. But this little guy is one that I just pulled out, and it was off of this board, and it doesn't even fit. So what was the point of that? Ooh, we got big, long boxes today. You know what that means? That means we finally have blinds. Now I can actually, not have to look at the street from the windows. And didn't I just clean this up last night? I swear, the second it gets cleanish, then it just immediately gets refilled with cardboard boxes again. Woo, first one in, and it's only been 10 minutes. I figured this was gonna be the hardest one because it's the longest for sure, but maybe that means the other ones will only take 5 minutes each. Either way, I think it's fantastic. That way I can have the blinds down just a little bit, so that way I can match the fence line behind it so there's no prying eyes if anyone's out on the street. Plus, the nice thing about this is, if we do want to have a little bit of sun in here, we can pull the top down. So they're cordless, top-down, bottom-up shades. We had these exact same ones in the condo and absolutely loved them, so I'm sure they will do just fine here. Well, we're on day 2 of the garage shelving project. I have all my bins that are going to be on the ground level because those are the longest. And I got some 2x4s yesterday and had those all cut up and ready to roll. All of those are 2 feet, but ran into a bit of an issue. So for the shelf, I'm using as much of the existing lumber as I can because why not? It's perfectly fine. It's been indoors. It's not dry rotted. It's not weather rotted, anything like that. So far, all I've done is just add 2 2-foot 2x4s, one here, one there at the very top and leveled, so that way I have my distance away from the wall. Then I was going to measure from the cooler, because the cooler is the highest point in the bottom row here, for my next shelf. However, this 4x4 post, if you look down at the bottom here, is completely angled, and trust me, it is measured and level on the top. It's completely perpendicular from the wall. So this post is really, really badly twisted, to the point where it wouldn't really line up. There would be some pretty significant gaps here on my first shelf, let alone the rest of the shelves. So it looks like, before I can continue, it's another trip to the Home Depot for me to get another 4x4 post. Well, we're moving along. First shelf is in. All of the bins that go on the bottom are in, and made this pretty much as close to the top as possible, so I'm utilizing every single fraction of an inch here. But now on to shelf number 2. I have all the bins here, and these ones are, well, minus this one, the exact same, although the level is the exact same. So I'm going to go off of that, give myself like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and do it all over again. Well, we're humming right along. I got all 3 posts for the next level of shelving, but ran into a little bit of an issue. So I'm using all of the planks from the old shelving, and I have it lined up here like I would like it to be, but if we walk over to the end here, it's just a little bit short. So time for a little bit of creativity. I found a scrap piece of 2x4 that actually fit in here nearly perfectly. So now I have a nice wide path right here where I can cut the board in half, or a little more than half, and utilize these for the next shelf. I'm only going to get one, and then this little scrap times 4, but I'm working with what I got, recycling what I can. There we go. Perfect. Yet another shelf. And 4 more bins. Unfortunately, I don't have any more planks. Well, I do, but they're all way too short now for the next rack, but I have at least my last 3 pieces of 2x4, so I can make the 4th one and call it a night. This shelf is getting fuller every day. I have every single bin, or at least the big ones, on the shelf all packed away with room to spare. Although it doesn't seem like I've done anything yet. There's still so much stuff. But it's still nice to have all of this stuff up and out of the way. I actually really like the fact that 6 of those mini bins fit in one little space, and I kind of wish I could find where to get those again. They're orange topped, so I'm assuming I bought those at Home Depot. It's been a few years, and when I checked on Home Depot, they didn't have it, so it might have been something that's discontinued, but I really hope I can find similarly sized ones because they barely fit stacking up threefold, and I have room for another 2 stacks of 3 and 2 deep. So I have room for like at least another 12 really if I want to go crazy with it. Still a lot of things to go through in this garage, but I'm starting to visualize a lot better where I want to put things ultimately and how this whole place is going to be organized. For example, the toolbox here is going to fit perfectly right there between the shelf and the door, so that's where that's going to stay. This, which is going to work as my kind of mini workbench with rolling wheels, is ultimately going to be right here. This will fit perfectly right between the door and the water heater. Everything that's really motorcycle and car related can be in that corner. And ultimately, when all of this is put away and up against the wall or on a shelf or in a cabinet, then I'll have room for all of the bikes to be lined up here, maybe a couple other little things that I will have moving around frequently, and ultimately the car can go in this side. Now at the end of the day, I need to do a couple of other things before Friday hits because tomorrow's a big day. Those windows, hopefully, are gonna go away tomorrow. I say hopefully because it looks like we're gonna get some heavy rain tomorrow, and I don't know if that's going to impact the install. And because of that, I need to get a few things prepped. So to prep this, I need to make sure that everything is accessible, and so they say they want at least 3 feet spacing around the window. That means all of this needs to go somewhere. Not only that, but this window is also getting taken care of, which means I need to move my entire desk over. Well, happy Friday. Good news is the windows have arrived. Bad news though is that it has been raining non-stop all day and has no chance of stopping until at least tomorrow, so we're rescheduling the install.